Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast with your host, Tracy Hayes. The real estate star was turned down by many real estate brokers when she first became licensed. She hails from the Philippines, was a Navy wife for 13 years, and still going on. Yes. But he's not active anymore. Yes. He's flying commercial. She is consistently on social media. Entrepreneurship is in her blood, as she was involved in several businesses before real estate. She now is one of the most recognized realtors in Northeast Florida. She's a poster agent for Exit Real Estate Gallery, as she is a peak producer. She's consistently recognized at the Jacksonville Producer Magazine as one of the top realtors in Northeast Florida, a mentor at the Buffini and Company. I want to welcome the very popular member of the squad,
oh my God,
the Exit Real Estate Gallery's very own Marissa Scott, to the show.
Oh my God. I didn't know that. I was the most popular.
Yeah, well, we'll just say you are. I'll make the other ones jealous, right?
Oh my God.
Let them talk about that.
That was pretty cool.
But we're going to start off with a little toast here, a little Patron to get started here and loosen the lips. Cheers to the staff here. Okay, yeah, all right, got that out of the way. We'll chase it down with a little high noon. Vodka and soda, oh my God. All right, we're ready to go.
All right, let's do this.
So, Marissa, you are, one of the things I want you to think is I think you have an inspirational story, and I was just noting here actually on this little bio page that you got, in my intro I mentioned, because you had mentioned to me you had just got your license, you were talking to some brokers,
yeah,
and they were like, we don't want to really we're not really interested in you.
Should I name the brokerage or no?
I'll let you when you want to tell the story. But you literally on here, and I skipped over this initially when I was reading those. You were Exit Realty's Florida Rookie of the Year in 2008. Yes. So literally within a year of you people saying, we're not really interested in you, you were Rookie of the Year 12 months later.
Yes. So I remember the story behind me getting my license. I was a full-time mom, and I still claim that I'm still a full-time mom until this day. Mm-hmm. But I was doing little things here and there. My background, I was in the band in Malaysia, singing in the band. I was an animator for a while. And then when I finally moved to America, I was just really dedicated to raising my kids and being a full-time wife to my husband, because he was active military then, mm-hmm. and he deploys a lot. But I'm getting to the point where I need to do something for myself just to get away, but without having to take all the time from my kids, because my main focus is still my family.
You could be as full or part-time
exactly.
as you would.
And I still, everyone that I talk to, I always still say that I'm not a full-time agent. I am, somehow they look at it like I was or I am. But, my main priorities are my family. And I remember...
And you see that a lot on your social media.
Yes,
You have a lot of pictures of your kids, and you guys traveling around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I remember my mother-in-law was a real estate agent for a builder. And I remember just going to the model home while she was working, and I was like, I can really see myself doing this. Mm-hmm. And knowing how much or how less she worked during those day years, I was like, I can really do this. And I remember asking her, and I said, I really want to look into getting my license. And she said, you're not going to make it. It's too hard. I don't think it's for you. And
she didn't think you had the work ethic?
I think she thinks that I'm not ready. Mm-hmm. I'm not ready, because I don't really have the best grammar in English and stuff like that. I just moved here.
You just moved to the States.
And, and I don't think she really believes that I can be comfortable with the language and stuff like that. Right. But I took that as a challenge, believe it or not. I said mm-hmm. to myself, I'm going to prove to her. So never challenge your in-law, your daughter-in-law or your son-in-law, because that really just brought just turned on the light bulb on me. And I was like, I'm going to challenge her. I'm going to show her that I can do it, that right. I'll make it. And for me, it was also good because I'm getting to the point where I made the decision, okay, am I just going to be around Filipinos all the time? Because if I do that, I will never, develop my language. I'll stay speaking Tagalog forever, which, if I am living here and this is my new home, I need to be part of it. I need to be comfortable with it. So that's the two reasons why I went ahead and did it.
Similar story to your good friend Jocelyn.
Okay, yeah. And I remember I got excited and everything, I always believe that when it's meant for you, it's just going to happen in the right places.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember looking at the class schedule, it's like perfect for me because the kids, as soon as I drop off the kids, I'll be able to go to take the class. And by the time the class is done, then I'll pick up the kids. So it worked perfectly for me. And there was so little then. And I remember just taking the class and pass it. Like, I remember there was 30 of us when we started the class, and then of course as weeks gone by, it was getting smaller and smaller. And I remember there was when by the time we took the end of the course exam, there was only 10 of us, just 10 agents. And then out of those 10 agents, I remember only 2 of us passed the state exam.
Wow.
And then those 2 agents, she actually worked for a little bit with Exit. And I remember as soon as I got as soon as I passed the test, I was like, I'm ready. I'm ready. And it wasn't, I don't remember it as being as active before where brokers are calling you or emailing you or
as they do today.
Yeah, like,
bombarding you.
Now, as soon as you sign up for a class, you're getting all these calls. And it's like, I didn't feel very special then because I didn't get the calls, I didn't get the emails, I didn't get the letters. And I found myself actually calling them. And I remember this one brokerage, I wish I have taken his name down, but I didn't because I really would like to see him again and say, hey, look. But I still remember that day where I called this real estate company. And I think the reason why I called them is because they're all over those real estate TV thing. Remember there's a channel.
They just, I know what
you
you're
remember
saying.
That channel
People
where
would have the cable channel and just show listings.
And they show listings and they're always in there. And I thought, I really would like to work for that company.
Right.
And I remember calling and introducing myself. I told him that I just got my license. I'm ready to work. And he goes, I'm sorry, we don't really take any new agents unless you're top producer. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And I think, so one thing that you need to understand about me is that if you challenge me, I'm going to prove you wrong.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, one of the motivation why I'm like, I'm going to do this.
So your mother-in-law, right?
Yes.
Says, and then this person's like,
and if he's listening right now, if you remember, like 13 years ago, I called you and you turned me down.
Since we're on that, how do you end up at Exit then?
So I remember after I got my license, I went to a Filipino restaurant and I go to this place all the time. I actually became family members of the owners. And I remember meeting Chirito, who was my sponsor. And, she started talking to me about Exit. And I remember meeting with my very first mentor, Stain Bishop. He was the broker then. And I remember meeting with him and I just felt, because he was the first person who gave me the opportunity, who saw something in me. And until this day, he's still my mentor. I still call him and he still gives me really good, wisdom and stuff like that in this market.
I don't know in my professional career, one of my great successes in hiring people, I was down in Naples, Florida, where you do have a very mix of people from all over the world. A lot of European there, and a lot of Central American and South American influence there. And I went out and hand recruited. One young lady was from Colombia. Actually, the only guy I actually kept that was already on the staff they were hungry. He was from Haiti, and obviously they were bilingual, which helped.
Yeah.
But the work ethic and the understanding of the potential of what you were doing and the opportunity that you were stepping in, people they underestimate that, I think. If
you actually look, Jacksonville is a big place for medical field. And there's actually a lot of nurses in here. And if you look at statistics, you're actually going to find that majority of the nurses that we have in Northeast Florida are from the Philippines, and they're in, and even in the Philippines, you know, growing up in that third world country, everybody is very hardworking.
Right.
But just imagine that double the effort and the work, because they are now given the opportunity.
They come here to the States and they can send money back to their families and so forth.
Yeah, that was like my thing too when I started working. Of course, when I first married my husband, I have to be respectful of his bank account and not really. But there's also a funny story on that. That's one of the reasons why I ended up doing real estate, because I got tired of shopping. And he came home from deployments like,
probably
honey,
did too.
what have you been buying? Do something. So
well, tell us a little about growing up in the Philippines, and then into what led you to meeting your husband.
So I was really raised by my grandparents. My father was killed when I was very young. I think I was 12, and my mom, believe it or not, I came from my mom ended up marrying a rock icon in the Philippines. He's actually like the Mick Jagger of the Philippines.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's how I got the name Anna, which I told my husband name. That's another story that I can tell you. So I was raised by after my dad died and my mom moved in with her new partner. We ended up just staying with my grandparents, and we're really in the Philippines. I don't know if you know this, because it's a third world country. There's no such thing as middle class, so it's either you're poor or you're rich,
right?
And we're considered poor, even though my grandparents works as a civilian employee at the military facility. My grandfather was a retired military. They still provided, and it was not a lot, which was a good thing for me,
right? Because
everything was very minimal. I remember when somebody's coming, my uncle who lives now here in America, when they used to come home from United States, they're gonna bring us chocolates. That was a big thing.
Oh, that's
chocolates,
a big treat.
Soap, shampoo.
Oh, wow.
So they always bring this stuff, and I remember, because there's so many of us. I remember that Hershey's bar. My grandmother has to divide that equally. Like, I will get 3 little bars, and that was enough. Maybe that was a good thing, because I didn't really get big. It wasn't until I moved to America that I got a little bigger. So
I had to increase the exercise.
Yeah. So and then just like normal teenagers, we decided we want to rebel, and I was the middle child, and I was probably the problem child. Yeah, like I knew I was a problem child. I'm still a problem child until this day. What's that, Danny?
Shocker.
But I remember, as I rebelled, I left, and I decided I want to move with my mom, because my mom is giving me more freedom to do everything, and so I moved with her. My grandmother was very upset with that.
And she's married to the
rock icon. So just figure that out. What?
So do you go from living on a minimal thing to being with the rock star?
It was a different exposure for me. I with my grandparents, I learned how to live life in with minimum. And be happy with that. Living with my mom, I learned that you can do everything. That nobody or nothing can ever stop you from doing what you want to do, which I did, and I took it all the way
to the extreme.
But it was one of those moments when I was living with her, and I was a party girl, so I would go. Then we call it disco. We'll go disco. You remember those, right?
I don't remember being in discos, but I was old enough to remember Saturday Night Fever.
Okay, well, I'm not that old, but
yeah, you're not older than me.
But we have this. It's very popular to go to discos and stuff like that. And I clearly remember there was a place that I go like on a weekly basis, and for some reason that night they were closed, and I ended up staying home for a ladies' night out. It's like every Wednesday it's ladies' night out. And I remember just staying home, and then my sister and her friends like, let's go to this one place. They have this show, and it's gonna be fun. It's like, okay, I'll go.
Right.
So I went, and it turned out to be like one of those impersonators show. Like there was Boy George, there was Madonna in there, and I
Some
remember I was
impersonation,
yes,
comedy.
yeah. Well, they were performing, they were dancing,
okay.
and they're lip singing and stuff like that, and I was just mesmerized because for a Filipino girl to see, you know, a lookalike,
right,
you know, from America, celebrity from America, was like, I was just mesmerized and just soaking in. Like, oh my gosh, that's how they look like. You know, but I know they're not real.
Right,
but it
right.
just looked so real.
Right.
And I remember there was this short guy that stood next to me, and he just like, he was, is that real Boy George? And I would just look at him like, are you really that stupid? And he was American.
He probably had a little too much of the Patronus.
And I guess
Patronus.
he was hitting on me, but I'm sorry, Donnie, I don't have anything for short men. But he was, you know, he was nice, and I said, "Are you really that stupid? You really think you'd pay free? You won't? It's free to watch Boy George in a concert."
Right.
And then that's when he was. I met my husband. He was with him, and yeah, and we actually dated for 2 years.
Oh wow.
Long distance, and I don't have a cell phone. I don't have a lane phone. I don't have a computer. I didn't have a computer, so everything was love letters.
Oh wow.
And I still have boxes of those love letters.
Awesome.
Yeah, so,
that is awesome.
yeah, so that's how, and then he started coming back for more. So he was coming to Manila and visiting me at least twice a month. So was
he just because his ship was coming in, or he would actually go
so
when he had leave?
When I met him, he was stationed in Japan, and they were doing some exercises with the Philippine Navy. Right. And then he met me, and he was the one responsible for all the schedules, so he was able to come back as much as he can.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and you know, and so we probably did, you know, the 2 years dating thing overseas. You know, I found out I was pregnant, and I was ready to break up with him, and I said, I don't want to be married to an American. I don't want to spend my life with you because it will be short. Because my sister was married to one, and it lasted 2 years. And I said, I don't want it. But then, you know, we just kind of waited and see what will happen. And then he decided to take care of me while I was pregnant, and then I got pregnant again. I was like, okay, it's time. We need to.
Yeah, we didn't make a commitment here.
And that's how I ended up in America. So it was hard for me to leave my family and my simple life.
Right.
And move to America is a big shocker for me.
Right.
But, you know, everybody dreams of going to this country. And I didn't even think until this day that I will have all this opportunity. So
you have a bunch of, I wouldn't say a bunch, but you have several different experiences. You mentioned an animator.
Yes.
So was that something you were doing while you were in the Philippines?
Yes, so after college, I decided I've been pretty good with drawing, and I actually won a lot of contests when I was in school.
Is that what? Did you go to school for that? I didn't actually.
No, I didn't go to school for that. I went to school for business.
Business.
Yes,
okay.
but I one of my mom's friend, he actually saw my book. I always carry this book that I drawn, and I love cartoons and stuff like that. And he said, you know, you really have a talent. You really need to use it and make some money on it.
Right.
And I said, okay, sign me up. So I went to this place. They just asked me to draw something. I did, and they said, you have a potential, and they trained me to become an animator. Oh, and cool. I was making really good money on that, and so we did a lot of the X-Men TV series. We did the Green Eggs and Ham TV series and stuff like that. But it got to the point when the project was over, our boss got this is pretty funny. Our boss got a project from Japan. It was an X-rated cartoon. And I'm like, okay, bye guys. I'm not doing this. I'm crazy, but I'm not doing
cartoon.
this.
Okay. Now the Mary Kay, is that something you coming back to say? You got here, and that's something you got involved in.
I'm still taking care of the kids, and I'm still looking for opportunities so I can spend, some time for self-development.
Right.
And I met this wonderful lady, and she said, oh, you'll be good at this and this and that. And I said, okay, I'll try it. And again, it's one of those things where I can do it at my own pace, at my own schedule,
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And now I can say that my training, they have the best trainings at Mary Kay, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It's very dynamic. It's very, I
With
mean,
a lot of personal development.
yes, yes. And
Yeah.
a lot of like approaching people the right way, not like in your face, but
Mhm.
like approaching people the right way.
Yep.
And I remember whenever I train people, now I always say, if you really want a good training, find a Mary Kay consultant and attend one of their trainings, because I always say, if I can sell a lip gloss to a man standing behind me at the grocery store checkout, then I know I can sell a house to somebody. So.
I don't know the rationale there, but we'll agree with that. You did some singing, which you do at your church too. If I've seen you on social media,
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
So I still sing church. I still sing at my church. But I did some singing with a band in Malaysia.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for 6 months, but I partied too much. My boss decided I can't hire you if
Were you
you're
drinking more than you were getting paid?
I mean, that was the first country I ever went to from the Philippines. Growing up in the Philippines, so I was like taking advantage of it. So.
Right. All right, so we got to dip in a little bit with the name you gave your husband originally, which sounds like that carried on for like about 2 years. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when I met him, when I was a party girl,
Mhm.
I don't tell guys my real name,
Right.
and I don't know why, but I just never did.
Right.
And so for some reason, this Anna name, I've been using it from the very beginning,
Mhm.
and then my stepfather, his last name was Smith, so I was known as the party girl Anna Smith. I just don't have the big. But so every time I go out there, I party. It's my screen name,
Right.
Anna Smith.
Right.
But it's the Filipino version of Anna Smith without the big
Yeah.
thing. And when I met my husband, that's what I told him. My name was Anna. And so for this 2 years that we've been dating, if I show you the letters, the cards, it's all Anna.
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 Oh, that is so funny.
And so when he finally, so this necklace, actually, he gave me, I think maybe a year after we've been dating. And in the back of it, I don't know if you can see, there's
say
an
Anna?
engraved.
My eyes are not that good.
Okay. It says,
and it's upside down.
Anna, love Mark.
Oh, is that?
And the funny story was, I stopped wearing the necklace a while back after I had kids, and I just put it on my jewelry box. And my
Right.
son, JC, who was 10 then, he was looking for something, and he found the
You
necklace.
saw the wings, yeah.
And he goes, Mom, did you see this?
Oh, no.
There's a necklace. It's not on your name. So I have to explain to him
Yes.
the story behind the necklace. So yeah, and then it was when he actually proposed, when I told him, oh yeah, I'll marry you, but by the way, my real name is not Anna. It's like, when I told him my first name, my real first name, it's like, that's actually much more beautiful
Yeah.
than Anna.
It was a good
So,
answer.
Yeah. So I think
Good response.
I think he has no more choice at that point. So he knows he'll be stuck. So
I know a lot of our younger fans, because I do remember this video game. You competed in the Street Fighter arcade game.
yes, I did. It was the Street Fighter arcade game. So I
Was
used,
that like just extremely popular in the
yeah,
Philippines?
yeah. When I was growing up, it's very popular, and they actually have competitions for it. And I was one of the few young girls who compete. And I remember I was in Malaysia, and this is after I competed, and I was in Malaysia.
That was still when video games were a quarter, at least here
Yes,
in the States.
yeah. It's
now you
it's
got to pay $1 every time you play.
yeah,
it.
it's token, and there's like certain. It's actually, I was surprised that there's like really good techniques on playing that game. It's just not like you're just pushing all the buttons.
Right.
You actually, if I'm not mistaken, there's a book of
I'm
tricks
sure.
and stuff like that, and combinations and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And so I remember when I was in Malaysia singing with the band, Mark came to visit me, and we went to the mall. And there was this huge crowd, because I was like, I haven't played Street Fighter in a long time. So I said, let's go to this arcade. And there was this Chinese boy in this Street Fighter arcade game. And there's a huge crowd. And there's like, he's competing with different kinds of people. And he keeps kicking their butts off.
Right.
And I was like, oh, he's pretty good. So I'm like, I'm going to try. I haven't played in a while. I'm going to try.
Right.
So I put my quarter or my coin in, or my token. They call it token. And he just looked at me like, remember when I
Like,
told
what are you
you
doing, crazy
when
woman?
you challenged me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna prove something to you. So he looked at me literally from head to toe. I'm like, what are you doing? You know. So I put my token in, and like I think because you get 3 rounds,
Right.
and just in that first 3 rounds, I kicked his butt off, and he's like, he walked away just looking. And I think that was like the moment where my husband said, "I'm gonna marry this girl."
So let's. Did you went to higher education in the Philippines? I guess equivalent to an undergrad. Is that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what was your vision at the time of what you were doing, or were you just kind of going with the flow? What was?
No, really, I don't have. I remember my plan when I was young was really just to become an architect, and I don't know. I think maybe the reason why I took that course because it was the cheapest then.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because remember, in the Philippines, there's really no such thing as like the grants or all the free money that you get, the college funds or something like your parents will have to send you to college. I would have loved to do fine arts and something like that to kind of support my passion in animation, but it was too expensive. So so that was just the cheapest course, and just for the sake of having a degree or something like that. But I never really had any vision, and to be honest with you, what I have now, never in my wildest dream I would figure that I'll be here.
Right.
I mean, all of this was never part of my plan.
Tell us about the first day you landed in the States. Do you
remember that? I was pregnant. I was like 7 months pregnant with our second child.
You fly into LA or what?
Yes. I can't remember. No, because it was Northwest Airlines. I remember that, and I think it was one of those Indianapolis or something connecting flight, and
because you were coming to Jacksonville.
Okay. I was coming to Hawaii. That's where we
Hawaii
started.
is where you okay.
That's where we first raised our family.
Okay.
That's where we started our family in Hawaii. I can't really remember a lot of information on that, but I just remember as soon as I get out of the plane or the airport, because I traveled to America when I first met my in-laws.
So you had been, that wasn't the first time.
That wasn't the first time. So I came here, and there's a really cool stories about that. I thought Americans are so crazy because the way you guys treat your dogs. They're very, because it's so different from my country. Yeah, it's like, what's wrong with these people? But then I'm worse because I'm a dog mom, and I'm actually worse. So, but there's but I remember,
I cry more for a dog passing away than a human.
Oh my gosh, tell me about it. Don't even get me started because I lost 2 dogs already. But I remember when I first came to America, I think the first thing that I noticed or that I was really mesmerized with was the quality of air. The smell of what we call in the Philippines stateside. So whenever you go to the States or you come back to the Philippines, or whenever you get anything that's from the state, from America,
because you're not in a concentrated population, city, cars, and
well, we have that, but it's just for some reason there was this term like everything was stateside. Like it means from America, like the soaps, and we will smell those like, oh, this is the smell of America. And so when I finally, finally got out of the airport for the first time, and stepped it, it was actually in Orlando, Florida. The air is like, it smells stateside in here. It smells so good, and everything was so clean and stuff like that, and. It was funny, and the very first restaurant that I went to was Denny's.
Oh God!
So when I finally got my citizenship, I told my husband I want to celebrate at Denny's. You can't take me there anymore, buddy.
Well, breakfast is okay. I haven't been in a while. I generally go to Waffle House if I have a breakfast craving. Or actually, there's a Grumpy's down the street here at 210. This is really good breakfast.
You can't take me there
anymore. So Mark's in the service for basically another 13 years, roughly after you actually guys get married. So you started in Hawaii. Where else did you?
So from Paradise, we moved to the cornfields. which is Kansas.
Oh, wow. There's this culture.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But I would tell you, in all of the places that we went to with the military life, that's probably my most favorite place.
Oh.
Yes, because I got to experience my first winter.
Oh,
The snow and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we live in this small town called Fort Leavenworth.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally the military base housing was behind this Leavenworth jail.
Right.
Or,
Right.
you know.
Yeah.
And so, but I met, because there's only a few Asians in there. So it's like they've seen an alien or something when I'm walking around.
Right.
And they will just, I would say the nicest people are in Kansas.
Yeah.
And I like how you can cross that one bridge and you're in Missouri.
It's like going to a different country, right? Because we skipped around and covered some things. Okay. So I want to dig in now, just kind of change gears a little bit and really talk about you, because we started off talking about, you took the class, you talked to some brokers, they weren't really interested in you, but Exit was.
Yes.
Exit was willing to take you on, and you mentioned your mentor, if you want to mention them again. Stan Bishop, took you in to mentor you. What is your initial start? You got your license. I mean, what are you envisioning at this point? Do you even know what to do the first day? Did
Not
you
really.
have anything? What goes on? What does Stan Bishop do to kind of get you started?
So
there?
that's one nicest thing about joining that brokerage. And keep in mind, when I joined, it was in 2007 when everybody was trying to get out.
Right.
The foreclosures, the short sales are all over the place. And, there was another broker who actually took me by the hand. His name was Don Clark, and I don't know if you know him. Rest in peace. He already passed away. Mm-hmm. But that's one nice thing about Exit was they took me by the hand, and they were with me everywhere.
Right.
From listing appointments and stuff like that, from contract and stuff like that. They didn't have the training that they have now. They have some training, and I wasn't gonna be that agent that will sit down through all the training. I want to take what I can, take the training,
implement it a little bit,
and use it, because I know now that if I really want knowledge, it's gonna come from my experience, because every transaction is gonna be different, and you're not gonna use what you've learned from this training to all the transactions. So for me, it's really just getting my feet out there, getting in the field, dealing with people, and then just soaking all the knowledge. And that's the one nice thing is they took me by the hand, and they they supported me with everything that I needed. And then one of the things that that I think I'm capable of was I'm pretty good at thinking outside the box. I think you have to agree with that, Donnie. So I don't want to be your standard or normal. I'm crazy, but I'm not going to be your traditional agent. And I want to do something that's going to be out of the box, it's going to put me up there.
Unique and brand you.
Yeah. So I have to sit down. I really have to figure this one out for a while. And then I realized, oh my goodness, why am I looking everywhere when the opportunity is right in front of me? I'm a military wife. Mm-hmm. I can use this as a form to really,
it's an in,
exactly, so, and we're in a state or in a city where there's a constant, we have 2 big naval bases in here, there's a constant relocation going on every year. I mean, regardless of the market, there's always going to be a turnover. So I said, this is going to be what I'm going to focus on. I'm going to take all the knowledge that I can, with the help of my husband as well, because he's a high-ranking officer in the Navy. So, I'm getting a lot of inputs from him. And then there was this opportunity during the first few months that I was doing real estate, where it's called the BRAC, the base realignment. So this is when they close a certain base, move everybody. I remember. Yes. Yeah. So I said, and so when I got the information, like, I wanna do this. I want to go there. And so I formed this big military relocation group for Exit Real Estate Company. And we would travel to Brunswick, Maine. We would do classes, orientation.
Because a lot of them were going to come to
Jacksonville.
So
we're talking, the entire base is closing, and they're moving everybody to Jacksonville. And so we were doing that. We were doing first-time homebuyer classes and stuff like that. We were actually we were one of the sponsors for their last air show. in Brunswick, Maine, where we got fed lobsters. And I literally remember, I think I was going almost every month and bringing like 2 empty suitcases because I'm bringing some lobsters.
Right.
Hey, you had one of those lobsters. Okay, so
you can have them shipped overnight.
yeah, so yeah, we were we did that, and that's how I got my Rookie of the Year. I think because of my effort with the relocation.
I mean, first of all, just to think, because how long you been in the States at this point?
So I moved. So my daughter is 24. And so I've been here for 23 years. So when she moved,
so roughly about 10 years at this time.
Yes.
And you're brand new to real estate.
Yes.
But your mentors are giving you enough confidence to go and stand in front of.
Yes.
I assume a lot of them were their spouses.
Yes.
And then the military members that were going to be moving and so forth, and to have that confidence, they must have been giving you a lot of it had 50% of it has to come from you, because you actually have to stand up in front of these people.
And I think
they're giving you the real estate confidence.
So one thing that I would say that I'm very thankful for was they supported me with my craziest ideas. Financially, I have, they've done part of it, but I have to come up with my own way to, to have the financial mean so I can make this all happen, because being a sponsor for an air show is not free. You have to pay a few thousands of dollars on that. So that's when I reach out to builders, lenders, and that's how I got all this relationship with the builders.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the lenders, inspection companies, and until this day we still do that with the air show in NAS Jacksonville. We still do. We partner with you guys in so many times on those air shows. So so that's what I did. Of course, I have to pay for my own ticket, going there, but that's part of the business expense. So, but it was good. It was a really good experience.
You saw the opportunity and you immediately took massive action.
Yes.
Really, you did. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, well, what's going to happen? They're going to move. Should I go up there? Well, wait till they come down here, and then we'll." No, you were proactive.
We were our presence was very high over there. So it was. Some of the residents hated us because they felt like we were taking the people away from their areas. Like, no, we're just helping them. So.
They're moving anyway. You can help them sell their house locally. What do you do to? You brought a book here today.
Oh,
I mean, what do you do to stay sharp? Are you a podcast? You're reading books? Are you like the industry journals? What do you do to stay on top of the game?
One thing that you need to know about me, and this is probably because of culture too. When I was growing up, reading was never implemented. So I grew up. That's why I was an animator, because I grew up reading a lot of comics. So now I still struggle. The book has to be like really, really good for me to really
stay interested. No, trust me, I know what you mean. Because you want to turn the page. Because it's not
you have to understand my English is very basic. So I don't have that's why I don't really have the filter if I say something. That's because I'm not being mean. It's just because that's the basic English language that I know. So I don't think I'm very articulate when it comes to English. So for me, the simple, the better for me when it comes to reading. But, there are some books that I will read there, but a lot of those I will probably just do audiobooks. So I do a lot of audiobooks. I like talking to different people, and that's one thing when I wasn't comfortable with the language and I wasn't good with it. One thing that I told myself, I'm not going to be shy asking people, hey, what is that word that you just said again? Even until this day, my husband will say, like, my friend gave me an espresso machine. And then it's like, oh, look at all those bubbles. And he said, oh, it's so froth. Yeah. It's so frothier, right? I was like, what? It's like frothier.
Froth, I hear you.
So it's better than when I said hippopotamus.
Yeah, whatever.
That's the hippopotamus. I used to say.
That's not what that said.
So my husband actually corrects me or teaches me the right way to say some of the words. So he's very smart and intelligent. That's why he married me. So.
Wow. He actually probably didn't even realize how smart he was.
Now he's in trouble.
Because now you have your own credit card.
Yes.
So, all right. So 2007, you joined Exit. 2008, you're Rookie of the Year.
Yes.
but we are still during this time. And I know some other greats in the area that I've talked to that started similar, like Christina Welch or CC Underwood. They started in that same time period that you did.
So I actually, short sale was big when I joined, when I started my career in real estate. And I actually, aside from, in addition to the military relocation, I took that as an opportunity for me for my business. So I can still say until this day, I'm expert when it comes to short sales. I know exactly what to do without, and it's funny because I'm getting to the point now where I would actually show up at the courthouse.
Right.
And the judge, because, they're getting ready to foreclose. I'm like, please give us 30 more days, 60 more days. And I'm not kidding you. I went there one time and the judge's like, you're here again. You want 60 days. I'll give you 60 days. Leave. I'm like, okay, thank you so much. So that was my forte.
So you didn't take the downturn as like, oh, I got in a career that, oh, this is such a mess. Let me go find something else to do. You actually saw opportunity.
Yes. Yes,
dove
I did.
in.
Yeah. So that's what you have to do in this market. You can't just be comfortable with the normal flow because the market, real estate, is so cyclical. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Nobody knew what was coming, in 2 years or a year ago. I thought my career was over when COVID hit.
Right.
But surprisingly, like everybody else, everybody, I had my best year ever last year. It's like, what is going on here?
Right.
And then we have this market, which is, again, unpredictable.
How do you share that with some of the, some of these people who just started in the last couple of years? Obviously, COVID probably scared them a little bit, but then they go and have a heyday or a great year. But to let them understand is, in the last year, how the market's changed from how many offers are being on a house and how to properly make an offer is very strategic now, and you want to think through that to let them understand, because you've experienced some in 13 years now, actually I want to say you're 2007 to going on 15 years, some starting off in a hole as far as the real estate is. Now it's the market's changed, but because you're an out-of-box thinker, as you see yourself and describe yourself, you are actually kind of almost hoping there's opportunities like that because it just helps you excel in your ability to see the
I train a lot of agents in our office, and even we have agents from other brokerage that I'm friends with, and I still help them. So one thing that I always tell them, first, real estate is not for everybody. So stop watching all those shows, because I cannot tell you how many times I've been approached by some two really young people who didn't want to go to college and just want to get out of high school and start this business. And it's not for everybody. And you really have to be very strategic with your business. This is not, I think that's one of the problems. A lot of our agents just see opportunity to make one closing here and there and be done with it.
Right.
I think if you actually look at this as a business, then everything is going to change. So when you have a business, you have a plan.
Right.
If it's busy, it's busy. When it's low, then it's low. But you have a plan, you have a reserve. That's one thing about this business. You gotta have reserves because you don't know if you're gonna have closings.
Right.
But that's the one thing about working by referral. It's almost expected what's gonna happen with your business if you're gonna stay focused. When you work by referral. Do
you feel like some of these young people, like, they know if they sell one or two homes, their income is probably going to be above average than a recent college grad, for example.
Yeah.
So they're okay there, and they do the 2 sales and they go to the beach.
Yeah.
And where you and I are going, okay, how can we do 10? How can we do 12? Something like that. Because we know there's going to be a downturn, or we might have a slow month, but a slow month hopefully is only like 3 or 4 sales.
Yeah. I mean, you just have to tell them to be prepared.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be always rainy day in this
I
market.
use the phrase feast or famine in our business, and I've been in it 16 and a half years now, and you got to get it when it's there and be prepared for those downturns, and then it'll come back around.
Yeah, and when it slows down, for me, to be honest with you, I take that an opportunity to maybe spend more time with myself, with my family, personal development,
Sharpen your sword.
And actually, that's when it's slowing down for me. That's when I'm at my best because my brain is like working. It's like I'm thinking, okay, what else can I do at this moment? Because if you think about it, if you're busy and you're on the go, how are you going to be able to plan for your next step?
That is a high level thought. And if you read some of the most successful business people that we've had in the world, really, and they talk about the slow times, that's the time, like you said, sharpen your sword, get your marketing gear, because hopefully, a month or two or here, it's going to be summertime and all of a sudden it gets real busy. You don't have time to think of those marketings, because what you do today, it might be 90 or 120 days before it starts to bear fruit.
I mean, if your goal is to be in this business for the longest time, you have to be very strategic. You have to be very creative. You really need to think outside the box. You can't just really rely on your closings now and you're thinking that that's going to be the case next month again.
Right.
I mean, I think that's one nice thing about this business is that you're going to have people that will
up and down.
Yes, or will renew their license today, but they'll be gone tomorrow.
Right.
So
Right. Because we're tipping on something that has come up a lot in talking to the top agents like yourself, and that's consistency in what you do. Can you think of some things you're doing today, or whether it's you just started last year because there's something new, or even something you've been doing for 10 years that you consistently do over, and no matter what the month's production is going to be, you are doing it?
I think one of my mistakes when I first started in this business is really staying in touch with the people that I already serve. And if you think about it, these are people that you can turn into your best advocates, especially if you have poured your life, your everything, and you've given them such an amazing job, and all they can do is really talk about you, but then you don't really convert them into that advocate. They just kind of washed away, and for the first maybe 5 years, I was very transactional. I close and done with them. And so I don't have a lot of repeat business. And so until I got introduced to Brian Buffini's program, that's when I realized, oh my gosh, it's better for me to focus on the people that I already serve rather than go out there and knock on doors and talk to people who doesn't know me.
Someone brand new, doesn't even know me. Yeah.
Because your best referral are from those people who knows you and that you already serve.
Right. Right. So consistent. So what are just some couple things that you do to stay top of mind to your past clients?
So if you ask my people now, I call them my peeps. Okay. If you ask a lot of them, they'll say I'm the walking yellow pages. So anything that they need, even though we're done like a year ago with anything, all of them, I would tell you, all of them still come. Do you have a good carpet cleaning people? Right. I think when you're that person that they can go to for something, even though the transaction is already done, they will remember that. So that's one of the things that I'm always making myself available to all these people, whether the closing has been done years ago and stuff like that.
So how, because you were here pre-social media.
Okay, yeah.
You started pre-social media. How has social media kind of accelerated this?
So social media for me, it's not really where you can, for me, I know for some agents, it's a way to get or generate leads. Not for me. Okay, for me, it's just to be out there so that people can really see who I am. And if you notice,
are you speaking more on the social media to your past clients or possibly new people?
Maybe both. Yeah, maybe both. But I think one of the things that I use social media for is to stay in touch with them, because majority of them will have social media. It's also good when I put everything. I have one account. I do have a business account, but I focus more on my personal account because and some motivational speakers or trainers out there will tell you, oh no, you don't want that because you don't want to include everything. But for me, I want them to see who I am with my personal and my business. Yes. I get bored looking at the same stuff over and over again. Right. So I that's one of the reasons why I do that.
Any of the top podcasters now in the space of real estate, I mean, they're talking about, again, it's not just putting your listings up there.
Yeah, no.
It's more, you put, like, obviously, I mean, you did a home gym. You're always kickboxing in there. You got your trainer going on, but you're people are relating to you. You're showing your kids. You're going out to traveling or going out to dinner or whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I have people that reach out. I have one agent now with Exit who reach out to me because I guess he was working for another brokerage, but he saw the freedom that I have with keeping busy, being a top producer, and still manage to do all these things. I have one agent ask me, how are you able to manage that? You know, because looking at you, following you on social media makes me tired already. And I said, you know, that's a nice thing about, you know, knowing your priorities, because you know how to really balance everything in your life. So
well, there's no doubt, was, you know, and really since when I started researching the podcast, I was going to do it, and now coming up on the first full year, you know, a lot of the top people, yourself included, every time I open my Facebook, you guys are up in the little panels, whatever you're doing, or you're posting something, but it's so top of mind. I think it's a huge way to leverage, especially your past clients, because obviously you hopefully friend them in, and they're friends and see what you're doing. We talked about consistency, education.
Okay.
We haven't really tipped on that, but what are you doing? How important is it? You know, like you said, you're mentoring some new agents that are coming in Exit, for them to get as much as they can.
So, so as you know, I do the Peak Producers program, the training program. It's a 12 weeks course program. It's a really amazing program. Now we're switching it to Pathway to Mastery. We have one thing about Exit is we offer a lot of trainings and educations, but I think this one is probably my most favorite because, like I said, when I got introduced to this training program, I didn't really know how to stay in touch with the people that I already serve.
Right.
You know, and this program actually taught me how to stay stay in touch with them and focus on them and love on them and stuff like that, because these are the people that will give you the business.
Well, now you started following Buffini, but now you're certified to mentors. Tell us a little about what triggered you there and why you like him.
So when I first I met Brian Buffini at a convention in Texas, and I'm very ADD. So if you're not dynamic, I'm gonna leave the room.
Right.
So, but I found myself just sitting there and just mesmerized with this guy. I was like, wow, you know, his training techniques are very real life. It's not like your fairy tale storybook, like $1 million listings and stuff like that. You know, it's very like, I can do this, I can do that. It makes sense. I think a lot of it is very common sense, but we just didn't know, you know. And so when I finally signed up, I told my brokers, hey, I'm going to do this program. I can make it open. I'll open it to a lot of agents who will be interested in doing it. Yeah. And I said, we'll just see how it is first before we start really offering the training program. Turned out I had like 75 or 80 agents on our very first, that was big, Donna, you remember that? And it was amazing. So we're like, wow, this is good. So now let's take it to the next level and start charging. So when we say charge, we don't charge the training. We charge for the materials that we will be needing, what we need for the training. And so, up to date, we have 400 agents that took the program, and majority of our top producers at Exit actually was a Peak Producer graduate. Right.
Well, part of becoming an expert at it is sometimes teaching it.
I still
when you start teaching it, you are.
I still sit better there, and you know, even though I've done it 5 times every year, it's still all new. Like, it's like a good refreshing, like, oh yeah, I need to do this, I need to do that. I mean, I don't task. And I don't expect everybody to do everything 100%, but at least you pick something for what you're learning and apply it to yourself. See if it's gonna work.
Well, it's like you said, you learn a little bit and then you got to implement it.
Exactly.
And you got to take that, you heard that one, you might have heard 10 ideas. You're taking that 1 or 2 and you're implementing it, and you see your business move, and then you go back and follow up and go, oh, let me do 3 and 4, and then you start to grow. You have to start.
So you don't be an emo bird. Do you know what an emo bird is?
Email bird.
Emu
bird.
Yeah. Do
you mean like on the insurance commercial, the emu?
Yeah. So the emu bird, the trainer will teach them something. They do it right there, right? And then tomorrow they don't know what they learned. They forget. So they come out and like looking around like, okay, I just taught you what you're supposed to do in the so don't be an emu bird.
Okay. Now you you used this quote when you messaged me, giving me some things to talk about on the show, the squad that you hang out with. Yeah. And one of the most common themes, because obviously I've had most of them on, we'll get all of them on eventually here to fill out the squad. But how important is it that you are hanging out with the Shonda and Melissa and Jocelyn and
Missy and Paige?
Yeah, I mean, because all of you are producing. How has that moved your career? What do you get from that synergy?
I actually call my posse the
posse?
the misfits.
Okay.
Because we're not perfect, you know. We have flaws. Like Melissa is very known for being unfiltered, unhinged, you know, and then Shonda, she's just the pretty one. And Jocelyn is the
You're all
posting
pretty.
one.
I can tell you that, right, Donnie? They're all yes.
But you know, our friendship really just started recently. You know, we used to just like, I remember Shonda just seeing her in different events and just saying hi and hello.
Right.
And actually on my way here, I'm trying to remember, okay, how did we go from there to here? Because I can't remember.
Right.
You know, and it we just have a lot to give to the table. Like if one is lacking something, another one has that, and so we're all like contributing. I can't show you what like context of all our text messages because a lot of
I've
them
heard there's several threads going on.
Well, for
there's
me,
a professional thread and then there's a non.
No, so the 6 of us, we have one thread, and it's from professional to bedroom to everything.
Oh my God.
So I'm learning so much.
All right, we got all the males. All the males are wondering what's going on there.
I'm learning a lot from this woman, you know. So, and again, we have, if there's something that's lacking in one of us, there's another one who has a lot of it to give to us.
Right,
so.
right. That's so awesome because it's a cornerstone of any personal development book.
Exactly.
Surrounding yourself by successful people. All of you guys are producing and really feeding the energy off. All right, I'm gonna kind of wind down.
Okay.
I'm gonna ask 2 more questions.
Okay.
Well, question number 1 actually has 3 parts. You're teaching these new agents at Exit.
Yeah.
What are 3 things that you tell them that are must do's?
First is hard work.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, how do you pronounce that? Genuine. I could be real.
Genuine.
Be genuine. And then be creative. So those are probably the 3 things. You know, we
genuine,
have
creative, and now hard work. When you say that, what are you referencing as far as being a real estate
just
agent?
Don't give up, because you know the market is challenging and stuff like that, and it's so easy to just say, you know, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. Right. It's not gonna happen. You know, I put in 10 offers. It's not happening. Guess what? You're gonna have to put more hard work to get one offer accepted in this market. You know, so just don't
keep pressing forward.
Exactly.
Because you might get this one accepted, and then your next 3 might get accepted like that.
Yeah. So and you know what? Just think of it. It's all temporary. It's our market. That's the nice thing about real estate. It doesn't stay the same for the longest period of time. It's always changing.
Right.
So
whether it's subtly or now, of course, with interest rates rising,
it's slowing down.
We might see see something going. Who has been the most influence in your professional career?
I would say it was my brokers and my husband. Can I have more than...
You can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured you were actually, my guess would have been your husband.
My husband. Do I need to put them in numbers?
If you want to put them in order, yeah. We'll put Mark first.
Mark first. Then my brokers, Ray, Sunny, and then Stain.
Because you've been at Exit 15 years now.
Yeah.
Or more. And so they had to be giving you something. Otherwise, you would have gone somewhere else.
They give me a lot of love. They have to.
Right.
I give them lots of love back. So.
All right, we're going to round. This is my 2-minute warning questions.
Okay.
Is it more important who you know or what you know?
So I am glad that you're asking this question.
Okay.
So you can tell that I actually listened to one of your podcasts because I'm like, I need to make sure
I have prepared for this one.
Yes, I prepare. I came prepared. I have my notes. Okay. So, because I think it's a very good question, you know, and every time you have a guest here, they have different input on this.
Right.
And so before I even answer that, I think it's important that you understand first my culture, and that way you have a better understanding of where I was coming from with my answer.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know this, there's 2 types of culture out there. There's the achievement cultures and then the fulfillment cultures. So the achievement cultures, which is most of the Americans and first world countries, they focus a great deal on what they know because they're on that achievement culture, which is more about, they focus more about the numbers, the goals achieved, like numbers.
How much money you make,
exactly.
What degrees you have.
Exactly. So that's like you guys, for me, I think I'm more like on the fulfillment culture because we're more about personal contentment, growth, happiness. and less about hitting a specific number or something like
Right.
that. So, and so for me, moving to this country 23 years ago with having English as my second language, I think knowing more people, but not just more people, the right people matters more.
Right.
My grandmother used to say that you're a you're a good example of the people that you spend a lot of time with.
Right.
And we're in this industry where we deal with human beings all the time, and it's a huge part of what we do. And so I always know, or I believe, that how we deal with others is really often the greatest indicator of our success. And the nice thing about knowing, once you determine who you know, you can actually balance your life, because now you can start prioritizing your people. You can prioritize your time and prioritize your activities. I think those all goes together. So to have that balance.
I see. That was well said. And because when you got into the real estate, you met the right people. Those guys mentored you, and over the years, the brokers at Exit just continued. And then, of course, you met other real estate agents and so forth. So who you know helped expand what you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. That was really well done.
See,
that is some serious notes right there. The achievement culture versus the fulfillment culture. Interesting.
So you learned something from me today.
I did. That is really good. What's on your travel bucket list?
Let's see. I was supposed to go to Hawaii in July.
But you've been to Hawaii.
Yes, but a different island. Okay. We put a hold on that. We were supposed to attend a wedding there. I would love to go back to Europe again. We did 11 cities in 2 weeks over there, and we just loved it. But right now we're enjoying our beach condo.
Cool.
Yes, and we're planning.
Did you buy one here locally?
In Amelia Island.
In Amelia Island.
Yes,
oh, cool.
We're enjoying that. We're looking at the possibility.
Just a quick weekend getaway, drive up there.
Yeah,
30, 40 minutes.
it's actually an active Airbnb, VRBO. So we're generating income from it. It's paying for itself, and whenever it's not rented, we go there and spend time. And then we're looking at another opportunity to buy a 42-foot boat with bedrooms and stuff in it.
Because are you a Freedom Boat Club member?
Yes.
I saw you guys because you had your pictures.
Yeah.
I'm a member too.
And I hate water, to be honest.
All right, last question.
Okay.
All right, I know you and Donnie do some work together, but for the loan officers out there that might be listening and so forth, what is when you and any referral partner you have, because you refer home inspectors and maybe insurance or whatever, what is the number one thing you require of them?
I think honesty. I don't expect you to know it all, but I rely on you.
Transparency, honesty.
Exactly. Honesty is the key, is for me, because you wouldn't believe how many deals we actually save together when we start talking. Donnie will get to the point where, okay, I'm kind of hitting a roadblock here. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, okay, tell me what's wrong.
And start talking through it.
And they're like, okay, what about we do this, we do that. And because I have more of the relationship to the customer,
right?
I get to, okay, what do you have now that we can use to make this
They
work?
have another income we haven't mentioned yet or something.
Yeah, the worst thing that you can possibly do to me is just, when it's getting bad and you just kind of hide from me.
And wait till the 11th hour. And then
it's like, just be honest with me with everything. If you're dealing with some difficulties, let me know. Let's work it out. Let's talk about let's work it out. Let's see what we can do to resolve it.
Marissa.
Okay. Do I get my Patron?
You're gonna cheers with me with Patronus? You're gonna shoot the Patronus? Okay. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. Before I forget. Okay. So you can't know me without having my famous chicken lumpia.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So I made it and fried it on my way here.
Oh my good. On your way here.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
You have to show it to
yes.
you. And then I always notice you have this book. I actually met Ryan.
Donnie, if you will grab her gift bag right there in the chair.
Have a gift bag.
You have a gift bag too, and I have that book in there. Have you read that one yet?
Yeah, I have not. I've met him. I have
Okay, well, you're going to get his books in there as well.
Oh, thank you so much.
As well as a nice Yeti mug as well for you.
I have something for you too.
Okay.
And I know you have all these business books in here. I think you can't live and survive life without this book.
I'm just gonna faint.
I know. So my pastor's wife, actually, there's a story. I was going through COVID and I was very emotional and mentally like not right.
Right.
And I was dealing with some issues with somebody and I was like having a hard time recovering from it. And I talked to my pastor and pastor's wife and she said, you know what? I want to give you this book because it's really just going to help you learn how to deal with people when you think they offended you. And I think this book will help you deal with people in the right way.
Okay.
And so I'm giving it to you.
The Bait of Satan.
Yes, it's my
Living
most favorite
Free
book.
from the Deadly Trap of Offense. Okay.
It's a really good book.
Miss Rocco gave me a book yesterday I'm working on. When I finish that one, I will.
Okay, yeah, and let me know. And you'll be great. I can like do anything to you and you'll be like, are you okay, Marissa? I still like you.
Yeah, I might need to read this a couple of times. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you.